Greetings, loved ones. In doing research for materials to share with you for this program, I came across a great booklet by Stop It Now called Let's Talk, Speaking Up to Prevent Child Sexual Abuse. I would like to share with you today as the information contained within this booklet is extremely helpful for those who desire to protect children. Today is part one of several episodes discussing how to speak up and prevent child abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. So here's part one of the booklet. Let's talk. Speaking up to prevent child sexual abuse. A concerned father says, "It will be hard to talk with him, but if I don't have that talk, I will always wonder whether I did everything I could to protect my son and the children in his neighborhood." Talking about sex is never easy. Talking about sexual abuse is even harder, especially when you care about the people involved. Maybe you are worried or concerned about a situation that has some kind of sexual energy feeling to it. Sometimes you have seen or heard just does not feel right. Learning how to talk about your concerns can help protect a child in your life. It can also make a huge difference in the life of an adult, teenager, or child who needs your help. For more than 10 years, Stop It Now has been talking with parents, teachers, counselors, daycare providers, and guardians. They have also talked with people who have sexually abused a child and have talked with their families. They have talked with many survivors of child sexual abuse. Stop It Now has found that when adults talk with other adults about the way someone acts with the kids, the talk has made a difference in their lives. This teaching will help you talk about your concerns. Adult-to-adult discussion is the best way to start making changes. We will help you ask questions about what may be happening, and we will help you find out what options are available and how to decide what actions to take. Most importantly, this teaching will help you know when it's time to ask a professional for help. Child sexual abuse is a crime everywhere. If you already know that a child is being sexually abused or has been sexually abused, please report the abuse to Child Protective Services or the police. A Helpline caller says, "I can't talk with my father about anything but sports. How can I possibly explain to him that I don't feel comfortable leaving him alone with my new baby?" What is child sexual abuse? If you feel unsure about what child sexual abuse really is, you're not alone. About half of the people in a recent survey could not explain sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse is any sexual activity with a child by an adult or adolescent. These acts can include sexual touching, for example, touching a person's penis or vagina, oral sex or intercourse, and sexual behaviors that do not include touching, for example, peeping, flashing, or showing pornography to a child. Sometimes an older child may sexually abuse a younger one. Here's some advice from a counselor working with sex offenders. If you have any doubt in your mind, then there is no doubt you should speak up. So let's talk about knowing when to speak up. Number one, trust your gut. If you have a gut feeling that something isn't right, you might be tempted just to ignore it. But your gut feeling is a reaction to something real that you have seen or heard. By following your instincts, you can learn what's happening around you. By taking action, you can create a safer and more secure environment for a child. Here are some of the situations that Stop It Now Helpline callers have told about. Each of them is different. None of them shows that a child has been sexually abused, but it makes sense that each of the situations made a Helpline caller uneasy. They said, "My 33-year-old brother stares at teenage girls and boys at family parties. He constantly comments on their changing bodies." Another said, "My neighbor doesn't have kids. He always invites the children on the block into his house for treats." Another said, "My 16-year-old daughter stopped hanging out with her friends. Now she spends most of her free time with an 11-year-old boy in the neighborhood." And another, "My child becomes very quiet and seems frightened when we visit with my brother-in-law." Let's talk about what to watch for when adults are around children. Have you ever seen someone playing with a child and felt uncomfortable? Maybe you thought, "I'm just overreacting," or "he or she doesn't really mean that." Don't ignore comments or behaviors. Learn to talk about them and ask more questions about what you have seen. So here's a checklist that offers some warning signs. The person refuses to let a child or teenager set any of his or her own limits, tells a teenager that only a parent can decide when privacy is allowed in the home, even in the bathroom. Or they insist on hugging, touching, kissing, tickling, wrestling with, or holding a child, even when the child does not want this affection. Or they're overly interested in the sexuality of a particular child or teen, talking repeatedly about the child's developing body or interferes with normal teen dating. The person may manage to get time alone or insist on uninterrupted time alone with a child. They spend most of their spare time with children and has little interest in spending time with people their own age. They regularly offer to babysit many different children for free, or they take children on overnight outings alone. They buy children expensive gifts or give them money for no apparent reason. They might also offer alcohol or drugs to teenagers or children when other adults are not around. They might also frequently walk in on children or teens in the bathroom. And they allow children or teens to consistently get away with inappropriate behaviors. Any one of these behaviors does not mean that a child is in danger. But if you answered yes to more than one of these questions, begin to ask your own questions and get help. Trust your gut. For information and advice on how to talk to someone or for resources, please call Stop It Now's toll-free helpline at 1-888-PREVENT. That's 1-888-773-8368. This information is available in our video description. So here are some warning signs that an adult may have sexual behavior problems. Maybe someone you love may be acting out in sexual ways that worry or confuse you. These behaviors may be a way for the person to ask for help. Many people with sexual behavior problems wish that someone had asked them what was going on. They wish they had known where to call and how to get help. Do you know someone who often has a special child friend, maybe different one from year to year, spends most of their spare time on activities involving children or teens rather than with adults, doesn't have any close adult friends, or makes fun of child's sexual body parts, calls a child sexual names such as stud, whore, or slut, talks again and again about sexual activities of children or teens, or encourages silence and secrets with a child. Maybe they talk about sexual fantasies with children and is not clear about what's okay with children. Maybe the person was exposed to violence, pornography, or sexual behaviors as a child and has not dealt with it in any way. Another thing they do is they masturbate so much that it begins to get in the way of important day-to-day activities. Or they download pornography off the internet and is not willing to show it because children are involved. Any one of these signs does not mean that a child is in danger. But if you see a few of these signs in someone you know, begin to ask questions. If you need help with how to approach the person or any other support, please call Stop It Now's toll-free helpline at 1-888-PREVENT. 1-888-773-8368. It's in the description. A helpline caller says, I finally approached another mother in my neighborhood about my concerns for this family. I was so glad to talk with her and hear that she shared some of my thoughts. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 7, experience violence every year. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. If you're a victim, listen to me. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. And most of all, you're not alone. If you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will continue this discussion on how to speak up to prevent child abuse. Until then, God bless you.